You know, again, I'm going to go down the line on this one because I think this is important because we all define ROI differently. I mean, it's not just return on investment. You have to use your own company's speak in the way that things are measured. So you guys mind sharing a little bit some unique aspects of how you're defining ROI? ROI with your clients?
As we think about ROI, I think we're lucky in that we get to work with lots of different companies, lots of different businesses, different industries, and that has given us a tremendous amount of really opportunity, as I see it, to learn a lot about different ways of looking at this. And I agree, they break into a couple of categories. We help a lot of companies develop mobile capabilities to extend their products and services. So how do they bring mobility into their products and services to increase the value of that, much like Randy's done. We have other folks who have taken technologies and used it to improve their internal operations, right? And at the end of the day, it's always one of three things, right? You're either gonna make more money, increase revenue, you're gonna reduce expenses, or you're gonna manage risk. But what we try to do, and a big part of what when we go in and work with clients, it's all about the strategy and making sure you know what needle you're trying to move in the business. And we try to do that before we ever draw a screen, before we ever start writing a single line of code. We want to know specifically what needles in the business are we trying to move, which categories do they fit in, and specifically how we're going to measure whether this worked and whether we're really getting the ROI we intended. So
Sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Two layers of ROI, and they're kind of built upon one another, is that because we're a reseller of our solutions, we have an ROI that we've got to get on, we build something, we need to make some money on.
Yeah.
But whatever we build has to have tangible ROI to our customers. So when we look at adding features to any kind of piece of our solution, whether it be mobile or whatever, we got to say, well, how does that affect our end customer? Does that positively affect their return on investment? And then how does that bring it back to us to say, I can sell more? My salesperson now has this other tool that they can use to go out and get more business. Or this is something that we can charge for, and we can pay for the development by charging more money. So there's really those two pieces of ROI that are kind of on top of one another.
Our biggest return of any of this is knowing what's going on in the field at all times. And we can save a penny on a bundle of shingles to a piece of metal that we don't have to use. So it's just seeing all that and being able to direct the guys in the field to go return it versus throwing it in a dumpster. And it was just one bundle, who cares? But it's $28 you just threw away. So we can see all that, and that's really been a big eye-opener for us and a big return for us.
Especially when we talk about ROI, and I'll stick with you, Brice. You think Cerner is just a multi-billion-dollar company. You can just build and create whatever, right? But that's not the case. I mean, you still have to define the ROI for every single project or solution that you're buying or purchasing. So how do you define that as a company like Cerner?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. And then being an internal IT, again, IT is always seen as a cost center, and so it's a challenge to struggle to justify, as I said earlier, to do that web development. We push really hard on our business unit stakeholders to help us articulate what that ROI is. A lot of times it comes down to employee efficiency, productivity claims. So we spend a lot of time sending some of our designers out to shadow that team or those associates to kind of map their process and their workflow and try our best to get to real numbers, because people throw out numbers like, oh, we spend 2 days reconciling that every single quarter, and I got 12 people who do that. So those are wild claims. And then we say, okay, if we believe you, that means when we do this work, you're going to be able to reallocate these people to this higher value added work. Well, I'm not so sure we can do that. There's still other things. So we hear a lot of that stuff, and we try to, like I said, go in ourselves to shadow those folks, actually do timings of how much time it takes to do this stuff, or try to identify where there are errors commonly made and what the cost of those errors are, and put that back on the business when we're done and say, okay, now let's go measure how we stand now, and see what kind of improvements we make. So we try to do that. I'd be lying if I told you that's how all these projects work, and that's how we get funding and approval to go forward with some of these. It's not always the case. Sometimes, like I said earlier, it just comes back to employee satisfaction. But that's the method we go in with, and we're sometimes successful, sometimes not, in proving that out.